Hello everyone! For this video, I created a controllable army of 96 piglins and 8 hoglins. Each unit can move in all 4 cardinal directions, traverse 1 block fluctuations in terrain, break formation to attack, regroup, and much more. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the army itself. The 96 piglins and 8 hoglins are split into 8 different groups, or units. Most of the army is composed of 64 piglin swordsmen, split into 4 units of 16. Next most numerous are the piglin crossbowmen, split into 2 units of 12. Lastly, making up only a small fraction of the army, are 8 piglin brutes mounted on hoglins, split into 2 units of 4 brutes and 4 hoglins each. Now, I'll start to show you how I control the army using commands. Each item on my hotbar represents a different unit. When I select an item, I select the unit that it's associated with. I can tell which unit I've selected because that unit gets equipped with iron helmets when I select it. As you can see, when I switch to the sword on my hotbar, I'm selecting this unit of piglin swordsmen over here. When I swap away from this sword, I'm selecting a different unit. Of course, when I swap to the bow or crossbow, I'm selecting one of the 2 piglin crossbow units. When I switch to the axe and trident, I select each of the piglin brute units. And finally, when I switch to the fishing rod, I select all units at the same time. When I select a unit and drop the associated item, I can start issuing orders to that unit. A bunch of armor stands will appear around me, and each one represents a different order. The first 4 will order them to move in a specific direction: south, west, north, and east. The one above me will order them to regroup, which I'll explain a little bit later, and the one below me will order them to stop and stay in place. To pick an order to give them, all I have to do is move towards that armor stand. So, I'll order them to move south, then north. There's a goat horn sound and pitch associated with each of these orders. Then I'll go ahead and tell them to stop in place. The same is true for all of the other units and unit types in the army. I can drop the item associated with any unit in question and issue them orders in the same way. Lastly, when I drop the fishing rod, I get the same commands. When I select a directional order, all of the piglins will go that way, no matter which direction I pick. Alternatively, if I don't want to control them all at once, I can individually select different units and order them to move in different directions until I tell them to stop. It can be really difficult to keep track of all of the piglins when they're all moving in different directions. Let's get to how the piglins attack. Piglins will move in formation until they get within 8 blocks of an enemy. They will then break formation and charge at the enemy. If the enemy dies, or simply gets out of range, the piglins won't automatically get back into formation. Instead, they will just wander around on their own. To get them back into formation, I can use the regroup order. When I issue this order, all of the piglins in the unit will walk towards the unit captain, and they will be teleported back in formation around the captain in a span of 15 seconds. At this point, I am able to give them orders again. Now that I've mentioned unit captains, let me explain them in a bit more detail. Each unit of piglins has a certain number of captains. In each unit of 16 piglin swordsmen, there are 3 captains. In each unit of 12 piglin crossbowmen, or each unit of 8 piglin brutes, there are 2 captains. The captains are the main part of a leadership system I made for the piglin army. In this leadership system, if a piglin captain dies, the unit as a whole will fight slightly less effectively, as all the piglins will get a weakness debuff. If all the captains in a unit die, the unit of piglins will lose all cohesion and stop listening to orders. Upon contact with an enemy, they will break formation and not be able to regroup again. At least one captain needs to be alive for the unit to be able to function and respond to orders. I've also changed the behavior of piglins using crossbows to make them a bit more lethal. In Bedrock Edition, ranged enemies, like crossbow piglins, won't strafe as much as they would in Java Edition, which makes them easier to deal with in Bedrock Edition. However, I've changed it so that piglins back up whenever an enemy gets too close, reducing friendly fire and making them harder to kill. There are also a few other mechanics I added that I will briefly mention. First, the different unit types move at different speeds. More specifically, the mounted piglin brutes move faster than any of the other unit types. In addition, the captains of each unit start with better default equipment, though all piglins have a chance to spawn in with more or better armor due to the difficulty level. Alright, I think it's time for a little demonstration to show how all of these mechanics blend together to create a controllable army of piglins. Here we have our piglin army, minus the piglin brutes since the hoglins they're mounted on won't aggro towards the enemy. And up on this hill, we have the enemy, 20 armed and armored wither skeletons. Of course, we're not simply going to have our units charge up the hill, we're going to take advantage of the fact that we can control the army and move a couple of our units to the other side of the hill so we can attack it from both sides. First, we'll tell this unit of piglin swordsmen to turn right and then proceed forward around the hill. And then we'll do the same with this other unit. It's going to take a little while for the piglins to walk past the hill. Now that they're passing the hill, let's have them turn left to get behind it. Now that they're on the other side of the hill, I'll have them climb up part way. Alright, all of our piglins are in position. I think we're ready, so I'll go ahead and give the orders for the piglins to advance. Okay, it looks like the wither skeletons are starting to move. It looks like most of them are coming down this side of the hill. The piglins with swords definitely have their work cut out for them. Of course, the result was never in doubt, as there were only 20 wither skeletons. Let's see how many losses we took. I'm gonna give the piglins some time to spread out to make sure two units don't regroup on top of each other. Okay, I think that's been enough time, so I'm going to issue the regroup command for all of them. Okay, now let's see how many are missing from each unit. Looks like there are 2 missing here. 8 of them missing here. None are missing from this unit. 7 missing here. No losses here, and 1 missing from there. So in total, we lost 18 piglins. Alright, well that's the piglin army, but before I actually end the video, I have a few things that I want to say. Next month, I'm going to be posting a video showing off how this piglin army, that was very much designed to fight against other mobs, fares against a small team of players. If you don't want to miss that video, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Lastly, before I end the video, I just wanted to give a couple of shoutouts. First, I'd like to give a shout out to the Reddit user u/godsunit. The control system for the snake game they built in Bedrock Edition is what inspired the control system I made for the piglin army. I'd also like to give a shout out to Badblock8259, who gave me the commands that enable the piglins to traverse fluctuations in terrain. I'd also like to give a shout out to Nathan Payne6765, who is the commenter who originally raised the question Badblock answered. Alright, well if you made it this far in the video, please consider subscribing and leaving a like, and I'll see you in the next video.